It usually happens in those quiet moments where you're in the bathroom brushing your teeth, or you're sitting in your car at the grocery store in the parking lot and you catch a reflection of yourself in the mirror. And for a split second, you don't recognize the person that you are. And I'm not talking about those gray hairs that you might see. It's that feeling where that life that you built and that you created, the things that you thought that you always wanted, none of that actually fits who you are today. I know for myself now, after all those years of being a mom, being a single mom, raising my son for those 18 years, and now that he's graduated from high school, he's 20 years old and building his own life, likely going to be out on his own. And I am figuring out who I am without him, who I am without being a mom, and what my identity is at this point in my life. So today I want to talk about that identity shift in midlife. I know for myself, I didn't know where I'd end up. I spent a lot of my life just trying to survive, just trying to get through life and raise my son and all the struggles that I had. I never knew how I'd end up. I never knew if I would meet somebody and get married. But I have figured out that how I am ending up and what I want is just pretty simple. I just want a simple and peaceful life. I know when I was younger, I'd see houses that were big and, glamorous. And I'd see people with a lot of money and I think, gosh, I want that someday. I want a big house. I want a nice car. I want to be rich and I want a pool in my backyard. And come to find out, those things are not important anymore. Having a simple life that's peaceful, having people around you that are healthy, having your family healthy, having the love of your children and your family is what's really important and what I'm grateful for. So for a long time, my identity was wrapped up in just surviving. As a single mom, I was just trying to make it through life, trying to survive and raise my son as a single mom, and trying to keep it all together while on a daily basis drinking, just trying to get through the day. And then in the evening drinking just to numb those emotions, trying to prove to the world, or trying to on the outside just let everybody think that I was successful. I had this great career and I was making it as a single mom and I was doing it on my own, when deep down and behind closed doors I did not have my shit together at all. That was my mask, and for years I kept it underneath and tried to hide it. And if I would ever let that mask slip, all people would see is fear. They would see bankruptcy looming. They would see that I had no money sometimes to pay for groceries. I would scrape money together to go to the liquor store and buy a bottle of alcohol. And then something happened. It was a combination of things for me. I started to get sober, and then I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I got to a point where I just said, I can't do this anymore. I have to do something. I've got to change my life in a way to make it better for myself and to make it better for my son. I realized that I was presenting to the world who this woman was, and I was just exhausted. I was tired, and I couldn't do it anymore. I was drowning in debt, and I was drinking to numb and push away that shame and humiliation that I felt inside. And honestly, when I started to get my life together, I had to grieve her. I had to let that portion of my life go that I held on to for so long. So what happens when you decide to let that go? To be honest with you, it's pretty scary. I stopped drinking. I stopped spending. I started to feel better about myself. And without that alcohol, my world around me did start to get better. Things started to improve. I know I had gone to counseling for a number of years. I think, when I was in my early 20s, I started to go to a counselor. And to this day, I still see the same counselor. I still go to her to talk. But I had quit drinking and had hid it from her for so many years. And I got to a point where I would go to her and I had nothing to talk about. All that chaos and all that drama in my life was starting to disappear, and it was because I quit drinking. When you get to that point in your life and you start to decide that things need to improve and things need to change, it really starts to become uncomfortable. You have to sit quiet with some feelings that you normally would drown in alcohol. You have to feel those feelings and start to deal with things, and it is really difficult at first, but it does get easier. And my plan then and my plan now is to build a life that I don't have to escape from. So we need to redefine what this time in our lives is all about, what retirement is all about, and what happiness is to me at this time in my life is peace, it's simplicity, and it's this business that I'm starting, connecting with you, connecting with other women that are in the same time of their lives and that are similar and want to learn, and a community that I want to build with you. So I want to be clear, I am still in that process. I don't have it all together. I'm still trying to figure it out. So if you are feeling a disconnect and you feel like that you are at a time in your life where you don't know where you're headed, if you feel like you've wasted your life and you have lost your identity, please hear me. It's not too late. You can reinvent yourself at 40, at 50, or at 60. You can decide today that that old mask does not fit any longer, and you can start stitching a new life together that feels like your own. You have survived 100% of your bad days, and you can survive this change too. So let me know in the comments where you're at right now in midlife, and if you are feeling that shift. And go ahead and watch my prior video where I talk about starting over at 60. And I'll see you next time.